Hola, 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 your amiga Shelly from Kelly here to hang out with you a bit and answer some questions. Not too long ago, actually, I'll tell you right now, on August 18th, I took to Twitter and to Instagram to ask you guys, what have you always wanted to know about me? Now, when I posted, it was originally to talk about, or to answer your questions rather, on Shelly Live on VOC Nation. But no one really said anything until like way after, so I thought might as well do a YouTube video on it, right? First we'll do Instagram. So we have here, Chris Love 99, are you single? No. And then Dr. Pepper Dude 123, if you're single because you're wifey material. Ooh, but no, I'm not single. Damn, camera was all full. All right. K-Cobb. I don't know if it's KKO Basco, KKO Basco. I just realized how dark my shot just got. Oh well. Anyways, deal with it. I have no real questions. Getting to know you here and on your social media and YouTube has been a true joy for me. I feel like a better person for it. Oh, let me write them back. Loves it. Recording a new video for my main channel now. Answering questions. Thanks for commenting. Yay, that makes me so happy. All right, L. Ernie Fernandez says, my favorite persona of yours was Ariel while in WWE. What was yours? Side note, I'm also from Chino. Chino 909. So my favorite persona was Ariel. It's so crazy because I get asked this a lot, and both characters, Selena's and Ariel, I love. But then my homie Dells, I was recently on a collab video for his channel, linked below, and he said, okay, if you were gonna be paid, someone's gonna pay you $1 million to play just one of those characters, who would it be? I chose Ariel. He's like, well, then that's the answer. So there you have it. Above Average Bob, and he has a picture of Dwight Schrute on it. Did you ever win a title? I did. I won early on in my career when I was just wrestling for a few years, a tag team championship belt in SoCal, or EWF. And then I won the Donkey Show championship a couple years back. And then we have Jessie K81 FTF. Shout out Jessie. What is your best match ever? Oh, that is so hard. Ay, ay, ay. I've had so many good ones. I'll list the ones that always pop in my head first. Me versus Serena Deeb in Jersey. Me versus Mariah Moreno in Texas and in Arizona. A match I actually had with Ruby Reyes for, it wasn't even for a show, it was a company was having like a party, so we were part of the entertainment and we did a wrestling match. That was awesome. Brittany Wonder in Hood Slam. Mickey James, a couple years back, her and I wrestled each other and we set it up to where I was at my gimmick table and she was in the ring, and like they were like, oh, Mickey James is here. And it's so funny because we had it to where like after intermission was our match. So we were like, let's just do it like when you're in the ring, like just come after me. And so no one knew except like the people involved, like, you know, that booked us and the referee, but like everyone else didn't. So I was like in mid conversation and I was like, just 1 second. And then I ran and I hit her. So they're like, what the hell's going on? So that was awesome. So yeah, and I just had so many awesome matches with different people. I've had awesome matches with Revy Sky. Gosh, there's just so many. I'm leaving so many out. I don't have an answer. Sorry, Jesse. Stellar Steven, favorite opponents. That's hard too. It's kind of like the same thing. All the people I just listed. I also loved wrestling. Let's see, who else? Sleazia, I wrestled her. Lufisto, I loved, even though I was injured, I loved that match. And I always wanted to wrestle her, so I finally got that. Yeah, there's just so many awesome opponents out there. So many awesome memories, you know? So many awesome matches that a lot of people don't know about because they were on the indies. I feel my best matches were on the indies. And on mainstream, you didn't really get to see me wrestle that much at all, you know? Which sucked, but I mean, whatever. It just, that was the roles that I had and I just went with it, right? All right, Big Time Bri. Toughest time breaking into the wrestling and WWE and OVW, and what was your best time from that experience? Well, that's a lot. Toughest time breaking into wrestling. None of it was easy, to be honest, especially the era I come from, because that's when like you have to send out VHS tapes that someone puts together for you. And then you hope to get booked based off of that. There was no internet and things like that going on. So it was just a harder time to make your mark outside of your area in wrestling, in my opinion, especially in SoCal. There wasn't as much going on in SoCal with like the Midwest, Canada, the East Coast, even overseas. It was just like, I mean, it took me years to know that there was wrestling schools here. So, you know, it was just, but I appreciate breaking into the business at that time when it was just a different time and it was harder to do it all, because it really helped me in my life, even now, like doing my OnlyFans and Secret Society and, you know, pimping myself out, you know, like a lot of that I learned just from being a damn carny, you know, through wrestling. My best time in WWE, OVW, that's just so hard, especially because I had different variations of like friends. I had little different groups of friends, and I had great memories with all of them. If I had to just pick one, I would pick when we used to go to Domino, Cliff Compton's apartment, and we would all get medicated and all this. And before I was a person that partook, the first time I ever smoked, I just remember it was with these group of guys that I just loved hanging out with. They were my buddies, and it felt like a after school special. Like I was always the one to pass the bowl around, but when I just like looked at it and I was like, you know what, I want to try it. And it was like everyone went like records moment, you know. So that was awesome. Actually, the best Halloween I've ever had was when Al Snow threw a Halloween party in during my OVW days. So that's awesome too. That's something I really look fondly on. Stellar Steven, who influenced you in your in-ring work? A lot of people say this. I never was like, oh, I want to be like Lita, or oh, I want to be like Chyna or Trish Stratus. I was more like, I just know I have a part in all of this. But if you want to talk true influence, that's Ricky Reyes, Rocky Romero, Frankie Kazarian, Iceman John Black. Those were the fellas that I really admired when I was training with them. And they, especially Reyes and Rocky Romero, really I give credit to being my first trainers. So they really influenced me in the way I thought about wrestling, how I went about it in wrestling. And even though a lot of people didn't think that, they just like, oh, Shelly, she's just like, oh, she sucks and she's just a hot chick. That's fine. You can go ahead and think that, because I really don't care. I know what's up. I know how the business works, and I know how it worked for me and how I made it work for me, and I continue to make it work for me, you know? So those were Big influences. Paul Heyman was a huge influence on me when I was during my OVW/WWE time. I was talking about it today on Shelly Live with Jen Thomas, vocnation.com, and talking about how I had my Paul Heyman fetish to where I used to want to sleep with him. I wanted to be with him. Like, that's how creepy I got about Paul Heyman. So you gotta go tune in to Shelly Live VOC Nation to hear more about that. Moose Styles. If you were born Jewish or converted. I was not born Jewish. I grew up Christian. I did not convert, but I do practice Judaism in my everyday life. Damn camera issues, my goodness. I overheated it. So I didn't convert. I do practice Judaism in my everyday life. Where I spend Shabbat service, I've been tuning in online for many years, since 2011. They're actually a Messianic Jewish congregation, meaning they're like Jews for Jesus, but I don't pray to Jesus anymore. I just pray to God. So I know that a lot of people can get confused by that. People do get confused. A lot of Christians don't care for my way of thinking. A lot of Jewish people don't care for my way of thinking. So it's kind of like, you know, I just care about the Lord and doing what my purpose here and what I'm supposed to do and trying to stay in line with my spiritual purpose. But yes, I read my daily Torah. I observe the Jewish holidays. So yeah, moves. An itchy armpit. Don't you hate when that happens? So Stellar Steven, bring in the questions. Thoughts on Jesse Ventura and his conspiracy theory show? I think he's part of the conspiracy. Then we got Amber Waves Shop, which you have shop. Amber Waves Shop on Instagram. You should follow. That is my homegirl Jen, my other Jen. I have a couple Jens in my life. My other homegirl Jen, that's her new business. I just love it. I love what she's doing over there. Let me show you. Look at this. It's great jewelry. She's handmade jewelry over there. She was being fun and cheeky. Why are you so fire? Because baby, I just can't help it. Truth be told, if a guy said that, I would have rolled my eyes, but because it was Jen, I get what she was saying. Jose Olsen, 1982. Would you ever create your own strato? Oh, he put STRAO and then he corrected himself with another comment, strain of weed like others have. I actually there was a dispensary called Venice Beach Kush Club in Venice Beach. And when I was in TNA, I used to go there on my off days and sample different indigos because they were going to name a strain Vampire Girl after me, because long story short, the way I was introduced to this dispensary and the owner was through RVD, and RVD used to call me Vampire Girl. And it was really good, that Vampire Girl. All right, now we have BGE Dojo 925. What is your favorite Batman book? Mine are the 1970s Batman. I never read the Batman books. I was always just into Adam West Batman, watching it, getting lost in imagination and all that good stuff. So that's the Batman I love. Sure, Michael Keaton did a good job. Sure, Val Kilmer did a good job. But to me, Adam West is Batman. And last, but certainly not least, we have GGMR Jr. 888. Are you a real vampire? What do you think? And now let's go to Twitter. So again, what have you always wanted to know about me? At Big Vito Brand, shout out Big Vito and Noel, his beautiful wife. A lot of stuff, things, a lot of stuff, LMAO. Next, Sonia MAFS. My amiga, shout out to her from Married at First Sight, thank you very much. How do you remain so kind and supportive? I guess more of a comment, I think you're amazing. That was such a cool thing to read. I read some of these when I was live on Shelly Live on VOC Nation, and that one was really like, oh my gosh, that's such a cool thing to say. And one of the things I talked about was like, I went into this whole thing about like learning how to control your emotions. And when you can learn how to control your emotions, like that just sets the pace for everything else in your life. That's the short answer. For the long answer, go to the August 18th, 2020 Shelly Live on VOC Nation. Stellar Steven, favorite traveling partners. Ooh, Francine, Amber O'Neill, ODB, Nikki Rocks, Mariah Moreno, of course Danielle. Those are the ones off the top of my head. How did you get, Stellar Steven, how did you get work in Germany and what made it great to work there? I don't remember how. I want to say maybe Kevin Thorne set it up many years ago. I've been there 3 times. The first time and the second time, they just like treated me the way that, like, that's what I signed up for wrestling. Like the vibes that they had, the energy that they had, it just lived up to what I always dreamt wrestling was supposed to be. So that's why I really thought it'd be cool to end my professional wrestling career there in good old Germany. Schultz. And then we have here like this whole thing when I was live. For some reason, I thought CM Punk's eyes were blue when I was talking about a situation that I had with him, and they're not blue. So it really tripped me out. And I'm like, why did I picture his eyes blue? It has to be some kind of like psychological thing where like his eyes I thought were blue, but they're not blue at all. Stellar Steven, favorite conspiracy theory? Life. At Arthur Marriott says, were you a wrestling fan before you got into the wrestling business? Yes, I was. I watched wrestling on and off as a kid, and then I kind of fell off, but I really gravitated towards the Attitude Era. That was my SH right there. I just loved it. I nerded out over it. I felt connected to it. And to be honest, when I think about it now, how my Ariel and Selena's characters are, any wrestling character, they all kind of fit that vibe of Attitude Era. So then we have, I just messed up. At TNT Pro Wrestling 1, the question I have is, who was your first match against and why you wanted to become a wrestler? My first match, like in front of the crowd, was actually Melina. Melina and I started at the same school in San Bernardino. So her and I worked each other a lot, and that's where we became friends and grew a tight bond there for a while. What got me into wrestling, long story short, I always knew that was just what I was supposed to do. And when I graduated high school, I went to a little bit of college, but I was always doing the modeling and acting thing. And whenever whoever would listen to me, I talked to them about how I'm supposed to be a wrestler, I want to be a wrestler, in hopes that somebody would like put 2 and 2 together, put me in the right direction or whatever. And that happened. I was in an independent film called Backyard Dogs, and I played a girlfriend of a wrestler. I don't even think I had any lines, but that school in San Bernardino, they used their ring and their guys for like the filler stuff. And I just would ask them questions like, how do I be a wrestler? Like, what am I supposed to do? And they told me, okay, well, you go to training, and then after you train for a while, then you'll have your first match. And after your first match, you'll continue to have matches, and then you put a tape together, and then you send it out. So that's exactly what I did. At Eurobay says, would you be prepared to do a vlog while laying in a casket dressed as Ariel? Sure, why not? At DJ MG got one, was doing the things, hair, makeup every week and or house shows a pain. I gotta think some shows you just said screw it and didn't do things or get fully geared up. Actually, no, that was part of my whole process of getting into character, and I really enjoyed it. Even now, when it is like a pain to get gussied up for videos or for photos or whatever, but when I'm in it, it's like, it really, I go to like my own little space and I start to create the energy that it needs to be created to whatever I'm doing, if that makes sense. Now, I answered this question live on Shelly Live, and it's from, God, gosh, I keep pushing the wrong button. At IYogiC, if you could live any fairy tale, what would it be? And I said The Little Mermaid, and here's why. So I just love in The Little Mermaid, not only Ariel's story and how she was like, thought there was, oh, just being a human so great and blah, blah, blah. And then she realized, oh, it comes with a price, and oh, it's harder than it looks and it's not that great, all these shady ass people. But what I love so much about that story is how she connected with Prince Eric. They, because of circumstances, were ripped apart. They still found each other, and he went to go find her. And that's my life. That's what happened with me and Metal Jesus. We met at this party. We went our separate ways. He went out to find me. He found me. And now here we are. So I'm living my fairy tale. It's not always perfect, but I'm living it. At Blazing Kid Test 1, I think that's what it is. Will we ever see you break? Will you ever see you back in LAX reunion? Really loved your character in TNA. Thank you so much. I had so much fun being freaking Selena's, but no, that ain't happening. All right, well, that's all I got in me for now because my storage on my camera is gonna shut down. There was a couple more questions, but I did answer those ones also live on Shelly Live. So if you wanna check that out, go to VOC Nation. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. I'm gonna do this more often. Make sure to check out my vlog page. It's linked below my other channel, my second channel. I'm just doing straightforward stuff over there. So if you're looking to just like see what I'm up to, see what I have to say, whatever, there you go. Next week I have some fun stuff planned for you, so stay tuned here on my main channel. And if you want to find my sexy content, go to onlyfans.com/Shelly Martinez or ShellySecretSociety.com. Lots of stuff there, lots of stuff going up, so you definitely don't want to miss it. All right. Oh, and don't forget ShellyTV.com. It's free. There's lots of stuff there, so you gotta check it out. Come on. Come on! All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Adios.